Welcome back to Introduction to Management. This is part 3 of our video lectures, and I am Ludmila Neagu. We're going to start by talking a little bit about management information systems. And don't forget, all the details from our video lectures are in your notes, so feel free to look at them anytime you'd like. An important part of a management is management information system, also known as MIS, and technology. It presents several kinds of information systems, and it explains how advances in information systems can give an organization a competitive advantage, especially in nowadays world. We're gonna talk about surveying information systems and information technology in general, looking at the relationship between information and the manager's job and the nature of the current information technology revolution. Then we will discuss several types of information systems that managers can use to help themselves perform their jobs, and we're also going to examine the impact that rapidly growing information systems and technologies may, actually, not just may, do have on managers' jobs and on an organization competitive advantage. As you recall, we have talked about competitive advantage before, and it turns out that information systems and technologies is a very important part of that issue. Now think about this for a minute. For much of the 20th century, science fiction writers speculated, with some accuracy, about a future that depended on technology in some incredible ways. For example, in the 1932 novel Brave New World, its author, Aldous Huxley, wrote of test tube babies, and now this use of technology is part of our world. Others speculated on other uses for technology, such as AI, robots, so on. A core theme in many of these writings was who will win out, human beings or technology. Will computers take over our lives? Remember 2001, A Space Odyssey? Maybe I should ask, how long ago have computers taken over our lives, not if they will. The dilemma facing modern organizations and their members is how much to rely on technology. What do you think about that? Again, give it some thought. The idea and the challenge will appear in our lecture, will reappear in our lecture. Therefore, computer-based information systems are central to the operation of most organizations and can help the organization to attain a competitive advantage. Again, we go back to the notion of competitive advantage. Falling prices, wireless communication, computer networks, and software developments have led to improved power and efficiency in information systems. Managers use 4 main types of system: transaction processing, operations, decision support, and expert systems. Now, all this technology that we have talked about could not exist without people. Employees, if you'd like, employees and managers. Now, people working for organizations, for companies, form what's known as groups and teams. We're going to look in detail at how groups and teams can contribute to organizational effectiveness. And we're also going to talk about types of groups and teams used in organizations. And once again, please take a good look at your notes for all the details concerning these issues. We're going to discuss how different elements of group dynamics influence the functioning and effectiveness of groups, and how managers, again, we're going back to managers, this is Introduction to Management after all. So we're also going to look at how managers can motivate group members to achieve organizational goals and reduce social loafing in groups and teams. And we are going to talk a little bit about what social loafing is in just 1 minute. However, before we do that, let's take a quick look at a manager's challenge motivating teams in manufacturing. In manufacturing organizations, the work is not necessarily intrinsically interesting. The working conditions might be a challenge, and economic conditions are uncertain. However, Nucor, the biggest steel producer and recycler in the United States, years ago has found a way to motivate their people. At Nucor, there was little hierarchy. Teams are empowered to develop their own informal rules for behavior and make their own decisions. In addition, at the same company, team members are eligible for weekly bonuses based on performance. These bonuses can actually exceed base pay. The company also is said to believe in job security and fairness. Why do you think that Nucor is so successful in motivating its employees? Because after all, that's what that is, motivating their employees. Now, I said we'll come back to the concept of social loafing, and we are. Social loafing occurs when individuals put forth less effort when they work in groups than when they work alone. It may be a problem in groups where it's difficult to identify individual performance. This occurs in groups where sequential task independence or reciprocal task independence exists. In these groups, one group member's performance depends on how well others perform their tasks and on the interaction with and cooperation of other members. In order to counter the effects of social loafing, managers need to make individual contributions identifiable so that group members perceive that low and high levels of effort will be noticed and individual contributions evaluated. Managers may also assign individuals to groups on the basis of the valuable and unique contributions that each person can make to the group as a whole. In addition, groups should be kept as small as possible. Small groups allow individual contributions to be more easily recognized and valued. Now, again, just a small, challenging ethical issue. Teams can bring out the best in people, such as the firefighters and police who led the rescue efforts and cleanup efforts after the September 11 terrorist attack. However, teams can also bring out the worst. Teams can bring out wonderful innovations, but they can also sometimes act unethically. Try to think of some instances where teams triumph, as well as some instances where teams might not have been so successful just because of some members of the group not pulling their weight. Now, another very important concept in management is motivation. We just talked about a case where managers at a particular company were motivating their employees. Now, let's talk a little bit more detail about that. Why do you think managers need to promote people based on their work? Why do you think they motivate them? Well, in order to be effective and in order to achieve the organization's goals. We're going to talk, and again, if you look in your notes, you'll see much more detail about important theories of motivation. Expectancy theory, need theory, equity theory, goal setting theory, and learning theory. Each of these theories provide managers with important insights about how to motivate organizational members, how to motivate their employees. The theories are complementary in that each focuses on somewhat different aspects of motivation. Only by considering all of these theories together will managers gain an understanding of the many issues and problems involved in encouraging high levels of motivations throughout an organization. And we will also consider pay as a motivation tool, again, as in our example prior. Let's look at a small case now called the Manager's Challenge, consistently ranking as the best company to work for. The study has been done a few years ago. It's about Tyndall and Boone, who seem to inspire and motivate in the Container Store. Tyndall and Boone, the founders of the Container Store, built a culture around their employees because they knew people were their most important asset. A concept that I hope that all of you out there who will be managers someday will get to realize that is true. People are an organization's most important assets. While the retail industry typically had a high turnover rate, this particular company hired the best and motivated them by being clear what is important, by enabling employees to be high performers, and by rewarding them in multiple ways. Their employees were treated with respect and had access to what is often privileged information in other companies, such as the annual store sales. In a survey, 97 employees of this company indicated that people here care about each other. Now we're going to talk briefly another very, very important aspect of management, an aspect called leadership. Leadership is a key ingredient in effective management. Now, if I were to ask you what is the main difference between a manager and a leader, what would you answer? Give it some thought and I will give you one possible answer. In my view, the main difference between a manager and a leader is that people follow a leader when they don't have to. They follow that particular person, he or she, because they want to, because they choose to, because they respect that person, not because somebody tells them that regulations say so. Again, give it some thought. When leaders are effective, their subordinates are highly motivated, committed, and high performing. When leaders are ineffective, chances are good that their subordinates do not perform up to their capabilities, are demotivated, and may be dissatisfied. We're going to describe very detailed in the notes what leadership is, and we're going to examine the major leadership models that shed light on the factors that contribute to a manager being an effective leader. Trait and behavior models, which focus on what leaders are like and what they do. And contingency models, which of this takes into account the complexity surrounding leadership and the role of the situation in leader effectiveness. We will also describe how managers can have dramatic effects in their organizations by means of transformational leadership. Of course, every organization hopes that those dramatic changes are good. However, at times it might not be so. And I'm gonna conclude part number 4 of our video lecture on introduction management with another thought for you, and I hope you're gonna think about this because again it's gonna come up. Another challenging ethical issue. Think about this. The US is a very patriarchal country. We have never had a woman president. While many other countries we think as many other while many other countries we think of as much more male dominated, have, from Ireland to England to Norway to Turkey. Why have we not elected a woman or even seriously nominated one for the job? Or if we had, please give some examples. The vast majority of CEOs are men, and what is called the glass ceiling is strong, still going strong, with very few exceptions. Why do you think that is? Are there ethical issues involved in this pattern, you think? Again, give it some thought and we shall return and talk about this particular issue. Now, this concludes part number 4 of our video lecture on Introduction to Management. Stay tuned for part number 5 and the last part of our lectures.